Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. Today's presentation is a case study of a man who experienced respiratory distress and a sudden drop in body temperature upon observing a particular phenomenon. I will now proceed to provide a comprehensive account of this case, including an update and contextual background information. The 34-year-old male will refer to his wife, the 33-year-old female, as Ellie. My best friend's name is Omar Ellie. We met in college and hit it off right away when we started dating. I was not particularly assertive. It could be said that it was Ellie who showed interest and desire in me that made me begin to value myself and work past a number of insecurities that I had been dealing with. I was previously a working nerdy smart dude, but had never had any real luck with women. To me, it was almost incredible that someone as smart and beautiful as her would show as much interest in me as I showed in her. We both had a strong work ethic, which led to us separately building small businesses of our own. By the time we graduated college, we had moved in together, and a year later married. We had what I considered a very strong marriage. We had weathered family tragedies, professional challenges, and small and large disagreements, and we always managed to work through everything. I felt that these experiences had made us stronger. Ellie has always had a large social circle that included a fair number of men. However, I never thought too much about it because she never did anything that raised any flags. All social outings seemed to always be as a large group, and I came to trust her closest friends as our 10-year anniversary was coming up. As the 1-year anniversary of our relationship approached, I decided to broach the topic of starting a family. At the time, we had not yet discussed the size of our future family. I was eager to have children, while she was either opposed to or only willing to have one child. After much deliberation, we decided to have one child, and 10 years later, we are still happily married. I believe that my decision to bring up the topic of having children may have contributed to the subsequent chain of events that transpired approximately 3 months ago. She informed me that she was going out with her friends to have some drinks. She informed me that she needed to unwind, as she was becoming increasingly stressed about the prospect of having children again. That night, she returned at 4 a.m., initiating a period of complete disconnection in our relationship. Ellie has consistently taken the initiative in our relationship, with me reciprocating on average more often than her. However, during periods of travel, we have occasionally gone without any form of physical intimacy for up to 5 days. She has also been spending more time out, guarding her phone and avoiding me. This is a new behavior for her. After approximately 3 to 4 weeks of observation, I initiated a discussion with Omar's closest friend, who directed me to Reddit. I subsequently began perusing the online forum, where I encountered a plethora of content pertaining to the subject of infidelity. This led me to the conclusion that I needed to take action, as the situation was beginning to negatively impact my mood. I was not merely seeking to trust her, I desired to trust my wife. However, I recognized the necessity to regain trust in her. Consequently, I obtained access to her mobile phone and conducted an investigation into her communications. This experience was emotionally challenging, as it involved a violation of her privacy. However, it ultimately led to the discovery that one of her new acquaintances was an old high school flame from before our relationship began. As I continued to investigate, I came to realize that my unwavering trust in her may have inadvertently contributed to her sense of complacency regarding the affair. I discovered that during a party held a month prior, he had attended, and they had spent the entire evening catching up and ended up kissing. This was not concealed from her entire group of friends, and then they conveniently went to the bathroom at the same time. Up to this point, I had been experiencing a profound sense of unease in my stomach, as if I was holding on to an image of the woman I thought I had married. This image was a kind of self. The situation can be described as a delusion, although the anger and sadness are becoming overwhelming. This is further compounded by the fact that she seems oblivious to my sudden indifference. I have ceased making romantic gestures, which she has failed to notice. Finally, a month ago, I decided to catch them in the act. I informed Ellie that I was going to visit my cousin for the weekend, although I had actually decided to stay with Omar, who has been helping me record and copy everything. I waited for the right moment, and it came. She brought him to our house to our bed. I snuck in the house and made my way to our room, where I could hear the sounds of passion. They were so into it that they did not notice me standing there at the door, recording them with my phone. I felt something in me break, as if something in my soul snapped. I could hear it in my veins. It was as if a 10-ton anvil had been dropped on my chest. I could not breathe. I went numb. This next part one can only tell you what. Omar asserts that the incident occurred because I only recall certain details of the subsequent minutes, according to Omar, who I had brought as a witness. It is reported that I approached the pair, pulled the man off the bed, and that Omar then pulled me off him. I recall Omar restraining me on the ground, after which I experienced the typical emotional distress of being caught. I then went on a 5-week period of no contact and began working with a lawyer to prepare for the worst. Omar served as her contact point during that time, as I was simply unable to. I wished to speak with her. Ellie contacted my family and informed them that we had encountered difficulties following the 5-week period of no contact. We met and discussed the matter. She expressed remorse and asserted that it was her responsibility and her decisions that had led to the situation. We decided to attend marriage counseling in order to explore the possibility of salvaging the relationship. I am astonished to discover that, even after this, I still love her. I am ashamed of myself for having considered her well-being. It is particularly distressing to consider that I may have been the cause of her infidelity. Was she previously unfaithful, and did I fail to recognize it? Or was I too trusting to see the warning signs? Almost a month has passed since I decided to seek marriage counseling. I have sought advice from those who have already undergone this process, and I have formulated the following questions. It would be beneficial to ascertain how long the cycle of anger, sadness, and numbness persists, and whether it is possible to become exhausted of the constant emotional roller coaster. I find myself loathing the idea of having to be on the constant lookout, as it is unclear whether this is a sign of my desire to leave or merely a consequence of my exhaustion. I am open to any advice. I genuinely love her, and have been head over heels for her since we met in college. Since our meeting at university, I have desired to reconcile. Is this a realistic possibility? If so, will it resemble the relationship that we once had? Bringing AP to your marital bed indicates a lack of respect for your spouse. There may be a chance for reconciliation if there is a sense of sacredness about the marital bed and property. However, it is evident that this is meaningless to her. She has no respect for you, so it may be advisable to consider giving yourself some respect. It is possible that, throughout your relationship, she has been preoccupied with her former partner. She may have been tempted to rekindle the relationship when the opportunity arose. If you were to reconcile, there is no guarantee that she would not engage in infidelity again. It is difficult to ascertain whether she would be remorseful about this. It may be beneficial for you to proceed with a divorce. The events that you have described do not indicate that she is repentant. It is unlikely that she would be remorseful about her actions. It would be advisable to seek counseling or a second chance for her. The positive aspect of the situation is that you have not yet had any children together. It would be beneficial for you to end the relationship, as she has lied on numerous occasions. It is fortunate that you do not have any children together, as this makes the situation easier and more straightforward. If you remain in the marriage, you will never be able to view her and yourself in the same way. It is distressing to observe her with another man, when she should have been faithful to you. It is important to take care of yourself. It would be prudent to seek a resolution that respects your needs and allows you to extricate yourself from this challenging and inequitable situation. While it is understandable that the dissolution of the marriage would be painful, it is important to recognize that the pain will subside with time. It is also likely that you will find someone who will love and be faithful to you. If I were in your situation, I would find it difficult to erase the image of your wife and her partner from my mind, particularly given her consistent deceit. However, you have the advantage of being able to protect your assets and financial future by negotiating a prenuptial agreement. This would ensure that you are not liable for alimony or spousal support in the event of a future separation. It would be advisable for you to have access to her social media and mobile phone passwords, as well as her location, at all times. This will help you to rebuild your trust in her. It is important to remember that she will have to put in a great deal of effort to save your marriage. This could take several years. If you do not want to have children with her, you should tell her this is a deal breaker. You should consider ending the relationship, as it seems that she is not willing to make the necessary changes. You have postponed starting a family for another couple of years, and her friends do not seem to be a positive influence on her. It is evident that the only certainty is uncertainty. At the age of 34, it is possible to embark on a new relationship with someone who has not caused harm and is genuinely interested in starting a family. This could potentially be achieved within the same time frame as rebuilding trust and having a child. It is important to recognize that the decision to pursue divorce is a choice that has been made by your partner. She did not desire children, and you are effectively offering her the opportunity to avoid being in a relationship with someone who does. By doing so, you are also providing her with the gift of not experiencing conflicted emotions about her friends, who did not intervene or inform you of their actions. They were likely individuals with positive attributes, but their actions demonstrate a lack of commitment to your relationship. The actions demonstrated that they were not aligned with the principles of the marriage. The dissolution of the marriage eliminates the underlying conflict. The divorce provides her with the opportunity to move on from a relationship in which she was required to engage in the challenging and necessary process of learning to respect herself and recognizing disrespect as a significant issue. This is particularly difficult when one is in close proximity to the individual who has demonstrated the greatest disrespect. The divorce provides her with the space to address her personal issues and work towards resolving those that led her to rekindle her relationship with an old partner. Being overly preoccupied with her own concerns may have prevented her from recognizing the need for a change in the relationship. The decision to stop being romantic and to become so absorbed in one's own issues is a conscious choice. The act of desecrating one's house and marital bed is an act of desecration in and of itself. It is an act that should be avoided at all costs. However, it is also an act that allows one to work on themselves. This is a gift that can be given to oneself and to any future relationships that one may have. There is a rightful anger and sadness that comes with the dissolution of a marriage. However, it is possible to view this act as an act of generosity with a hope for a better future. After reading the responses and messages, I took the weekend to reflect on the situation and reinforce my resolve. I came to the conclusion that I would never be able to live with myself if I stayed with her. Remaining and attempting to work on the situation would require me to sacrifice a significant portion of myself. Furthermore, I came to the realization that I was unwilling to enter into a relationship that would require me to be in a state of constant vigilance for signs of betrayal. Consequently, I decided to take the initiative and terminate the relationship. The following is a detailed account of the events that transpired. Upon waking up early, I was greeted by an unexpected surprise. When I opened my eyes, I found that my Johnson was fully erect. This was a surprising turn of events, given that, since discovering Ellie's infidelity, I had not experienced morning wood. My body seemed to be saying, "Let's get this done today and be done with it." I was so amused by the situation that Omar and his wife came to check on me, assuming I was experiencing a mental breakdown. I got up, prepared myself, and called Ellie's father to inform him that we needed to discuss the matter. We met approximately an hour before RMC, and I was somewhat surprised by my composure. I was surprised at how calm I was about it. I could still feel an ocean of emotion somewhere deep down, but on the surface, I was not feeling anything. We met up at a little mom-and-pop breakfast place near his house, and we sat down. Ellie's dad is a good man, lighthearted and funny, but more importantly, he is level-headed. I proceeded to express my gratitude for the manner in which he and his wife had treated me over the years, and informed him of my regret at the necessity of this discussion. He listened attentively, but as I began to explain the reasons behind my decision to divorce his daughter, he lowered his head. I could discern that he was experiencing feelings of shame and anger. He was not angry with me, but rather with Ellie. He told me that he understood my decision, and that he would not tell Ollie until I was ready to tell her. He agreed to this, and we shook hands. He then told me to take care, and said that he hated having to shatter his image of her. I debated with myself whether I should have asked him to care for her. However, I overruled this instinctive reaction because, as her father, he would undoubtedly care for her. Nevertheless, it was no longer my responsibility to care for her. I proceeded to our scheduled MC session, during which I had been rehearsing what I would say to her and how I would say it. I endeavored to maintain emotional composure for the following few hours. I remained in the parking lot for approximately 10 minutes, during which I engaged in silent prayer. I sought to ascertain whether I had experienced a similar emotional state since the commencement of this process. When we met with the counselor, I was able to temporarily set aside my feelings of disgust and anger, allowing me to focus on the task at hand. I then proceeded to facilitate a discussion between the counselor and Ellie. After approximately 10 minutes of their conversation, I interjected to express my need to take a moment to address a few personal matters. I informed Ellie that I wished to be able to say this with a neutral third party present, should I be interrupted. I stated that I would simply leave at that point should I be so interrupted. Ellie, I have come to realize that I do not need to know if this was the only time you cheated. The duration of the affair is also irrelevant. It is irrelevant whether the number of instances of infidelity is known, or the reason behind them. Even if there were a justifiable reason, it would not affect the outcome. The only pertinent information is that you have engaged in infidelity. To have children with me, Ellie interjects, and I began to walk towards the door. She immediately retreated, and I proceeded to leave the room. You were going to string me along for as long as it would take, and you would inevitably cheat on me. This is when Ellie began to cry. The counselor began to interject, prompting me to take another step towards the door. This resulted in my lawyer filing for divorce. My father was aware of the entire truth of the situation. I informed him that I would no longer be contacting him. I informed my former partner that we would communicate through our lawyers. These were the last words we would ever exchange. I walked to the door and left as soon as I closed it. I heard a wail, the likes of which would haunt people. She attempted to stop me as I was leaving the office, expressing her regret and desire to start a family. She was visibly distressed throughout this interaction. I pushed past her and got in my car, leaving the scene. At this point, a complex emotional state emerged, encompassing a multitude of feelings. The emotions that had been quietly lurking beneath the surface suddenly began to surface, and I was barely able to contain them. I drove to my parents' house and sent the text message that I had planned to send to Ellie's best friend's husband. When I got home, my father was at the store, but my mother could tell that I was not well. She has always been able to read people. I proceeded to inform her that I needed to divulge a matter of great importance to both her and my father. We then proceeded to sit down and await his arrival. I would be remiss if I did not express my gratitude to a Redditor who had taken the time to message me. Our conversation proved to be a great source of comfort and reassurance. A vast array of emotions was released when I concluded my conversation with my father. He simply held me as I cried into his shirt for approximately 20 minutes. When the conversation concluded, I felt a sense of exhaustion and a peculiar sense of peace. I have arranged for Omar to receive a Harley-Davidson motorcycle that he has been interested in purchasing for some time. He has been a friend to me in more ways than one, and I am going to try my best to be as good a friend to him as he has been to me. I am eagerly awaiting the opportunity to see his face. This is likely to be the last time I will post, as this story is coming to a close. I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for your kind words and support. I am grateful for the sound and sane advice from strangers on the internet. I am aware that the road ahead will be long and that I will still require individual counseling to deal with the aftershocks of this debacle and rebuild my ability to trust. I must hope that, little by little, all this pain, sadness, and anger will go away. I would like to express my admiration for your ability to confront the situation and take responsibility for your actions. It is evident that you have a clear understanding of what you can and cannot tolerate, and that you have acted in accordance with your articulated philosophical beliefs. It is encouraging to see individuals holding cheaters accountable for their actions, as this is an effective way to change their behavior. You have demonstrated admirable composure and self-control throughout this process. It is evident that you exercise control and not only confronted her at MC, but also took the initiative and held her accountable, not only for her infidelity, but also for the emotional distress she had caused you. In the context of your situation, it is notable that you were able to take control not only from your ex-partner, but also from the therapist. This was an effective form of therapy for you, as it enabled you to regain control of your life. It is understandable that you are currently experiencing discomfort as a result of dismantling the emotional barriers you had built up. Although the process of rebuilding may initially seem daunting, it is essential to recognize that you will emerge from this experience stronger and more resilient. This is the moment where you can begin anew, creating a life that is more fulfilling and meaningful. While it may not feel like a victory at this moment, you have taken the first step towards a brighter future. You will find happiness again. I wish you the best as you navigate this journey. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, I kindly request that you like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.